Hello and welcome. Rahul, you're watching me on my YouTube channel of my talks, and if you're watching me consistently, welcome back to my channel. See, whenever I come in front of you, I try to instill some positivity and I would try to disseminate some knowledge because I know exactly that if you will be acquiring some knowledge and investing your time in watching valuable things, it will help you in your career perspective and wherever you are aspiring to become someone else each and every day or to find any opportunity in any organization. If you have excellencies, you will be certainly given opportunities. Otherwise, many people are trying, but they are not getting such kind of opportunities. That is why it is pertinent that in this time you try to get something positive. See, we are living in hot summer time, and electricity is the need right now in every house. So today we will learn how electricity are generated and how we can solve our problems if we will have green energies, and if we will be able to generate energies like sun in a bottle on earth, then what will happen? Our problems of energy will be solved, without prices, free energy will be available to each and everyone because it is possible with the help of nuclear fusion. It is possible, but it is still moreover on paper. We haven't been able to design it in a controlled way. We are working on that, and we are in near future, so within a decade, it maybe we will be able to overcome all the challenges. So today we'll be looking where we are at in nuclear fusion and what kind of technologies, really generates electricity. Because we have to know a little bit of science. I will be keeping it in entertaining way so that you can understand exactly. Because conventionally we use coal to generate heat out of coal. When we will burn carbon coal, it will produce CO2, and heat. And when we have heat, we can make water into steam. And when the water boils into steam, we pressurize, to pressurized steam, we try to throw it out on shaft, fans and shafts. So when these shafts rotate, because in generator what happens, shafts are connected to magnets, and when magnets rotates across a conductor, it will induce electricity. Faraday's law, electricity, alternating current. If magnetic shaft is rotating all together, half the direction and half the direction, it will produce alternating current. It will be this side and another is this side, alternating current. So that is what happens when heat is generated and steam is generated. Steam will rotate the shaft, and shaft will generate electricity, and when it will be connected to grid, either it will store or channelize that grid electricity. That is what happens. Problem is that we have limited resources. If we burn more coal, it will create CO2, and CO2 will, greenhouse effect. We know exactly how it actually it will warm the planet, because these are the unwanted things, and nuclear fusion, it is very well that we get very less unwanted products, but we have been generating electricity not through nuclear fusion, rather through nuclear fission, where we break uranium 235 into a smaller portions. When we attack it nucleus with a neutron, what happens? Chain reaction happens, and uranium 235 breaks into barium 141 and krypton 92, and it releases 3 neutron with high kinetic energy, with heat energy. That is what happens. So these are happening in fission, but fission, when fission is happening, it is producing a smaller products, wastage, and wastage have radioactive materials. So most of the nuclear reactor, situated across world, they are being, their wastage are being buried in such a way or controlled in such a way that it has to be protected for a longer period of time. Radioactive activity happens slowly, and it has to be controlled The waste has to be controlled for longer period of times. More than 3,70,000 such reactors, are being and their waste are being controlled. So this is the problem with nuclear fission. Then comes nuclear fusion. The sun in a bottle. Why it says, because what happens at the core of the sun, hydrogen atoms, you know, which has one, proton, and nuclei, nucleons. If it is deuterium, it has an isotopes, or tritium. It has different, one proton and one neutron or nucleon. If you will say add the two will be having that their mass, suppose, So what happens? Deuterium and tritium are the isotopes of hydrogen. When ionized hydrogen, they get fused, they create helium and energy, and this energy is very much, because slightly mass is converted. When helium is made out of two hydrogens, the mass is little bit less, and we know from Einstein equation E is equal to mc square. Mass, when its energy equivalent, c square is also multiplied, so it is very huge energy is generated, and that will solve the planet's energy requirement altogether if it will be controlled. But we haven't been able to generate it in a controlled manner. That is where the problem lingers, because what happens, if you'll see in fusion, when hydrogen, ionized hydrogen, what happens, we have to do it in controlled way. So they have built a reactor, 35 nations came together because it requires huge amount of investment. So the 35 nations came together, they made ITER, International Thermonuclear Experimental Reactor. They're still working on that, and they are trying to bring, in a controlled way, if fusion will happen. So we don't have gravity much more. Sun is very big, so it has gravity, and gravity is the force which exerts on gases, and gases collapse on its own weight due to gravitational, because it has huge mass. Gravity is exerting very high, and it is monopole. It is at one pole, and that is why it is attracting from each way. And when it is compressed, it provides environment where hydrogen can get fused. When hydrogen will be fused, it will make helium and energy will be released. That is what happens at its core. But on Earth, we don't have such gravity. So what do? We make a different way. This ITER, is made in a reactor, built in a different way. We cannot use that much high gravity, so we use magnetism to control the high temperature plasma. So they have made magnetic field around, magnetic shaft, and its magnetism is such higher, 280,000, almost 280,000 more powerful, times more powerful than that of even Earth's magnetism. So much magnetism is being placed to control the plasma of those hydrogens, because it is hot, it will round, and when if it will not be coming across, if it will not be, crashing into each other, it cannot fuse. That is why they have to create such kind of forces around in order to control it, and the controlling is very difficult, because high hydrogen, when you will make it in a donut, very high pressure and very high density, a donut size, suppose, it will require immense engineering, and that is what is very difficult to maintain, but they have maintained it in ITER. So what happens, even the energy that is being used to generate that temperature, 150 million degrees Celsius, so energy we have to bring in input, that much energy, if output will happen, then the quotient will be 1. Output energy by input energy, we have to surpass it by much more longer quotient if it will be 25 times or 35 times, then only we will get massive energy out of it. Otherwise, if the break even point is not been done, which is the current problem, then how can we get that massive energy out of nuclear fusion? Because of Lorentz force, they try to control through magnetism the plasma. Lorentz force is perpendicular, you know, to the charged ions because of magnetism. So that's why they come in a circular path around a shaft, magnetic shaft. So that is what they do. Problem is that the controlled generation of nuclear fusion is not happening, but they have tried in nuclear reactor, you know, and they are trying to surpass the quotient because the input energy is being taken for maintaining that much temperature and pressure is still significant. So there we are working on. Now the advent of quantum computers can bring better engineering. They will model it inside quantum computer, and they will see exactly how it will be controlled in a controlled way because they have equations. They have equations of plasma, they have equations of electromagnetic forces, and they will be able to do that in controlled way. That is where we are lingering. So we are at the verge of generating nuclear fusion as well. So a lot of energy will be produced and our problem will be solved. That is what we want. We want pure energy and free energy for each and everyone. That is why 35 countries are invested in ITER. They want to produce, but it is taking very problematic and very hectic stage because engineering is the problem. On paper it is right, but engineering is the problem. That is what I'm trying to explain to you. So I've explained in a simple way, and if you'll understand it, will be significant. My health is not okay, but I came in front of you to share it with you. Because I found a chapter in a book, in the same book, and found it very overwhelming. That is why I wanted to present you, and everyone would be knowing exactly how electricity is produced and what are the ways by which we can overcome. And if you have curiosity about sciences, you can do miracles, because we want that kind of prodigies to generate curiosity in such kind of STEM fields, where they will participate, and more prodigies will change the future of this country and this planet altogether. That is what we want. Thank you for listening to me, and always vibrate with jubilant energies and curiosity. Thank you for listening to me.